What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the First Sacrament Podcast 2017. Brand new year, whole bunch of other shit we can get involved in and screw up. So, I hope you guys have had a good year. I hope you haven't blown, too many of you haven't blown your New Year's resolutions. I didn't really set any, so I don't really have any. What in the world? Oh, okay. My mouse is stupid sometimes. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Sacrament a little bit. Let's talk about what we're doing with the project right now and what the goal is going forward. Obviously, we want to get the basic combat build out there. I was hoping to have it ready by Christmas internally and then be able to showcase you guys stuff first week or two of January. That fell through. It didn't work out. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a second here. Let me turn this a little bit. There we go. But we picked up where the problem was. We resolved it. We're moving forward. Lessons learned. Relationships attempted. Didn't happen. Things fell through. This is business every day. So, world building. Let's talk about the world building. As you all know, we were working with the world building team. Crap. Brain fart like crazy right now. Hammerforge. We had some issues with Hammerforge. They had some technical problems. They had that world like almost, or the zone almost ready for us. And then they had some issues with computer tech problems a few times for a while. They couldn't repair it immediately. When it got repaired, there were other issues. Things just kept cropping up. Problems happened. Was not a talent issue. These guys are insanely talented. There's no doubt about that. We did wind up cutting our relationship with them simply because we were hoping to get a product, and we hadn't gotten anything. So September on through to December, and nothing happened. So our guys are building internally now, and I think for the most part, that's how we'll function on the Sacrament project. Bring people into the project, build it internally, in-house, so we can resolve these issues. The biggest problem really was the communication. There was none. And that, everything else could have been easily dealt with, resolved and overlooked. But I'm a stickler for communication, man. And everybody I talk to, they know this. They know that I'm massive on communication. One of the things I tell people all the time is clarity can't be had if the people without clarity aren't asking the right questions. It's a huge thing for communication, as you guys are probably very aware. I mean, we keep an open line of communication with you guys on a damn near religious basis. And there's a reason for that. It's because if we're not talking to you, how do you know what's going on with us? And that's just us as a company to people who are mildly interested in this game. When you've got contractual relationships with people, it's a whole nother story. There shouldn't be any question that communication is a necessity. So when that communication lacks, any small problems become massive compounding problems, and there just wasn't any communication. So it was time to just kind of cut ties and move on. So, but we got the zone going. We got the build going. We've got our own server rolling, so we're pushing, man. We're pushing. My CTO tells me March should have basic combat build ready for everybody. I'll probably have access to the build itself before that. They're working on the login stuff, and they just want to make sure that when I jump in there, I can't accidentally fuck with any of the code. That's a huge element. So they don't want me falling through the planet, obviously. Can't show you guys anything if there's nothing to look at. So once we got access to that and we've got some stuff we can show you, even before the basic combat build, I'm going to get you guys in there. And I don't mean you yourself as much as I would love to. I don't think we're going to be able to have people in there for a little bit. But Phase 1 Alpha is around the corner. And when I say around the corner, I mean with our current crew, we're looking at an 8-month time frame, and we're picking up people all the time. So I just talked to a highly talented individual. Once I'm done with this podcast, I'm actually going to send an interview scheduling email over to them. Highly talented with code. We just picked up another highly talented individual with code. These guys are, I mean, people are loving what they're seeing with the game so far. They're loving the fact that this company has been thriving for a year and a half. There are foolish individuals who believe that we should have a fully produced game by now, who have no idea what it takes to prepare for building an MMO. And, you know, I just got to deal with them sometimes. Whatever. Sacrament Tabletop RPG. So we did our first round of internal testing. I realized I need to amp up enemy output a little bit, so I'm going to be doing that. We're going to do another round of internal testing probably tomorrow or Sunday, one of the two, maybe a couple rounds both days. And I'll be able to push that out for everybody for beta testing. So stay, man, I hang out with my kids too much. I almost said stay woke. Ignore that. Stay tied to the forums. When it comes down to when it's time to do the beta testing, what we'll do is we'll release a form that you can fill out, just basic information stuff, so that you can get your hands on the files and on what files we have for you to test right now, and begin playing with the game, testing it out for us, getting us more data. Children of the Centauran, we pulled in a graphic designer. We've got everything but the code at this point in time. So right now it's all the programmers I'm bringing in are being focused on Sacrament. I should probably have one or two that are sitting there for Children of the Centauran, but I want to build the Children of the Centauran project separately, and I don't want to, like I told you guys, I don't want to risk anything with Sacrament for the sake of Children of the Centauran. Even though it's going to be in the game itself, I don't want to stop everything so that we can build Children of the Centauran. It would benefit us, but it won't benefit us at the same time. It's tricky. You know, people see us abandon one thing to create another product. They're going to be a little discouraged overall at the business of it also. All right. So some other news. Sacrament itself, or Ferocity Unbound Core Studios, the company itself, is also going to be playing a role as publisher. And we will expand on that information at a further date. You guys can get the full information on that at a much later date. We have a lot of books, lore on the game that we're going to be publishing. The first item we're publishing is actually unrelated to the game, but I'm going to utilize it to help bring in some money for the game. It might just be a little bit. I mean, self-publishing a book is a hell of a venture, let me tell you. So I figured throw the Ferocity Unbound name on it. Have a company that I own partially, but own invested in the success of this product, and have it pay back the company a little bit, build up a little bit of reputation. You know, it's good business practice. So that'll be that. If you're interested in that, I can give you more information on that first product. If you're not a reader, it's a book. If you're not a reader, you're not interested at all. I'll tell you right now. But it is a high fantasy, dark high fantasy novel. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned. I'll give you some information as we get closer to the date. All right, so let's talk about IR42. I got everything I need for it. I'll tell you that much. All right, so IR42. Oh, also, we got a new website coming out soon here. New forums. The forums will look a little different. It's their functionality we really want. We picked up a web developer that is motherfucking brilliant. All right, and he's rebuilding our website so it's smoother. It's not going to be a drastic change. It's just going to be functionality changes that are going to, everybody's going to love them. On top of that, mobile is going to have way more accessibility and power when it comes to the website. So right now, for instance, let's go to, I don't know. game information page. There's a ton of information on it, right? So on here, right now, the way this works is you've got all these columns, which is fine for PC. Mobile, you kind of got to scroll a little bit, which still is fine, right? You find the one you want, you click on the one you want. Well, now you got the problem where, if this is a lot of text, you got to scroll, either click the close button or the drop down arrow, and either way, it's kind of changing the way that your screen is. And instead, what's going to happen is all of this is going to be put in a box over here on the side, and we will have, I'm assuming you guys can see my mouse. I have to assume you can see my mouse. A box over to the side with all of these options on it. And the text on the right will be dynamic text. So when you click on say trading with other players, instead of that screen moving, it just updates the text in that main box. So there's no readjusting your screen or anything. It's smooth and it flows. So that's something that's coming out soon here. All right, so let's talk about the Duelist class first. All right, so the Duelist class is another one of our tank classes. This one is a avoidance tank class, okay? So this is the pair to the monk, kind of. Duelist class specializes in one-hand slashing, one-hand swords, and then an offhand that's empty, and it gives them a little bit more capability when it comes to parries and some other elements that we've built into the class. So this is something we are changing right here. It's a discussion we had. I think we're talking a little bit more about it tonight. But we want to convert all of our tanks from having an RE and a DE to an RE and an OE. So instead of a roll efficient and a defensive efficient, they're going to have a roll efficient and an offensive efficient, which reduces their capability as far as mitigating goes, but enhances on a small level, enhances their output just a little bit. So if they want to generate more threat, that would be good, but they're going to take harder hits. So if it's an avoidance tank that can generate a ton of threat and avoid most of the big hits, then rock it, man. All right, so the design of this class, obviously primary tank. It's got some DPS and self-support. So any abilities you see here that are a buff type ability are specifically on the Duelist. Blade Weaver is a channeled parry. All right. Duelist performs a series of parries to mitigate incoming damage by X%. So this is similar to What's Up Render. It's similar to the block the Paladin has, where they can hold it and channel it. The longer they hold it and channel it, the less efficient the ability becomes. I think we're doing it like 33% loss of efficiency, starting on second 2, second 3 is another 33, second 4 is another 33 until it's no longer efficient. This way, players just don't start building up the momentum to max and then just spam channel this ability and don't have to actually tank. We don't want to create a scenario where tanks are never actively doing their job. We want them to be doing their job. That said, if they got the momentum, they can hold this, hit the 2 second, maybe even the 3 second, drop it, and then reapply it, and that'll refresh that timer on it. So we don't know exactly what that'll look like as far as momentum cost. It's something that we have not figured out yet what the cost of abilities are going to be. We've been working on the other ability balance factors. So cost is not an element right this second. We do know what abilities do as far as damage goes. We could actually start filling in all of this stuff right here where you keep seeing X% and whatnot. We could actually start filling that stuff in because we do have the base metrics for that. And I can probably show you guys at some point what those would look like. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. I guess I have to talk to my team about any negative repercussions of that. But honestly, I don't really. I mean, what's the difference? You jump in the game, see the numbers for yourself, and figure it out yourself. Pirouette is avoidance tank. This is moves him to the target's side. So think of it as and yes, this will actively move you to the side of the target you're looking at. And you have to be within a certain range, obviously. Preferably it's on the target you're taking. And As I said, when tanks do their job, they're also generating threat. This is a part of it, right? So when you move yourself to that target side, you also generate a large amount of threat on them. Fluid maneuvers, it's a short duration self buff that increases avoidance. So this is something that we're talking about tonight. It's one of the reasons we're having a meeting tonight. Is this is the key element here. We want to take a look at, so we're getting rid of RNG for the most part, right? As much of it as we can. I want to say for the most part, because that's not necessarily true. RNG is always going to be a part of things. Otherwise, you have a built system that dictates exactly what's happening when it's going to happen, and that's kind of boring. So you want a little bit of RNG, just not an entire fucking game worth of RNG. So there's something that we're talking about with tank stats, like avoidance, block, being both active and passive stats, right? So imagine, if you will, that your passive parry stat nets you a parry, you naturally parry an attack that's incoming once every 10 attacks. Okay, let's say it's 10%. When you activate Blade Weaver, it bumps up another 25%. So you're at 35%. So you've got a pretty strong fucking parry going on, right? So let's say me as a duelist and Crave as a paladin picks up the same piece of armor. Okay, we both just, for whatever reason, both pick up the same exact piece of armor. And they both have parry and block on it. And if it's going to have one, it's going to have other. This is something we pretty much decided. If we're going with this method, this is how we want to do it. So each one will have block and parry, right? Let's say it's got an increase of 2% on it. We'll go 10%. It's a good number for right now. Me, as my type of tank, because I'm wearing leather, all right, I get a reduction to block efficiency while I maintain that full 10% on the avoidance, right? Crave gets the exact opposite. He's in plate. So he gets the reduction to avoidance, but he maintains that 10% on block. So we pick up the same pieces, and based on our class, we see slightly different elements. Even though they're the same elements, we want the gear to show you exactly what you're going to get out of it, instead of having to put it on first and see how it affects your items or your stats and whatnot. So we want all that stuff to be as reflective of what's going to happen if you were to equip the item. Even if you're just looking at, somebody linked it to you and you're just looking at it, you can still see what's going to happen if you equip it. Maybe we'll change that at some point, or give an option to show true stats. I think that would be the ideal. Give an option to show true stats in the event that a tank's showing something off, or a DPS is showing something off and they want to show everybody how badass it is. If you click the show true stats, you can see how badass it really is. What up, D20? All right, so, and then insult to injury is it's a taunt. Real basic, it's a taunt. There's nothing crazy to it or anything like that. This taunt could actually do some damage because he is a DPS class, so I'll go in and fix that. Typically, if the tank doesn't have a secondary in DPS, we don't want DPS applying to any of their stuff. But I don't think he's got DPS anywhere else, so I think that'll fit. I probably took that off, and Crave was looking at me like I'm an idiot. I've been busy as shit, guys. Let me tell you, man, we are hauling ass on this fucking game, okay? Non-momentum. So these are the abilities you can use at any point in time. Keep in mind. Sponsor applies a single target buff that links the duelist to a group member and transfers a percent of the group member's threat to the duelist. So let's say me and Crave are tanking, right? Or I'm tanking, and Crave is DPSing on his assassin. I can throw this on him knowing he generates the most threat in the group, and a percentage of his threat is going to come to me every time he generates threat, which is going to be huge. It's going to be nice. If you've got healers in a raid that are generating a ton of threat, maybe you want to throw it on a healer so that you're catching all of that additional threat. Because remember, healers, slightly different, right? Overall, single target threat is going to be a little lower, but a heal aggro's every target that has aggro on that player. So it works differently than the way that a single target DPS would work. So it's important to understand the complexity of healing threat versus DPS threat or generating straight threat here. So Battle Dance. This is something that they can utilize based on the type of armor they're wearing. Offensive stance increases damage and lowers threat at a cost to avoidance. Defensive increases evasion and threat at a cost to damage. So, pretty basic stuff here for the tank, but it complements the Duelist pretty well. So, if you've got any questions, let me know and I will jump on them. All right, so player merchants. This is something that you guys actually helped us create. The idea came from you guys. I don't remember exactly where it came up or who brought it up, or if I had mentioned something and then somebody asked, why can't we do that in the game? And we realized it's actually pretty fucking easy to do. I mean, all the major elements required already exist in the game. All we have to do is write code for a few more items. And we're not talking about something that's a massive thing. We're talking about pretty small things that we have to write additional code for. So this was kind of a no-brainer to add. That said, there are plenty of things that we are not adding because they add along. They're vastly complex, and they're going to wind up adding more time to the end of the game. One of the things we don't want to do is wind up like Star Citizen, and I know they got a wildly successful crowdfunding campaign, but they've also delayed the release of their game so many times and so far out because of all the things that they're adding. And a lot of them are things players want to add, but we're not an easy game to create, right? Your sandbox is typically a lot easier than your scripted AI type games that we've got here. Building an MMO like this takes about 4 or 5 years. Building an MMO like Star Citizen takes 2 to 3. Well, I'd say 3, unless you got some absolute fucking geniuses building the game, which they probably do. I don't doubt that they do. They could probably have pulled off a pure launch in 2 years. I think they're at year 3 in development or something like that. So, and I think they've only got they're talking about an open beta sometime this year. So they'll probably launch 2018. So that'll put them at a 3-4 year development path. So with all the things they've added, and I think some of those things are a lot of PvE elements, which is where the meat and potatoes come from as far as development goes. It's a pretty good time frame for them. So. All right, so let's talk about the player merchant. So the player merchant, very, very simply, is if you ever seen SAO, don't watch the second half of either season because it sucks. First half is great. At one point, you run across a scenario where our hero goes into a shop and talks to a merchant. Probably assumed it was going to be an NPC, but it's a player. This is a player that doesn't want to be involved in combat, wants to build weapons and sell goods. And I mean, a player wants to be a merchant. That's what they want to do. And we realized there are a lot of players that just want to be fucking merchants. Like, they don't want to feel like they have to get involved in combat in order to enjoy an MMO. And I think at this point in the game, I think they're right. They shouldn't be forced into one avenue of the MMO. And yeah, we got crafting and PvE and PvP and then the creator system, but we're talking about something completely different, right? I mean, we're talking about taking a house and having the functionality to turn it into a shop, right? Shelves where you could store items, you get a visual display of items, and players can interact with it, see how much they cost, what the going rate is, and then they can have an option to buy it. So this is what player merchants are focused on. This is the event of player merchants. The first thing you're going to need to do is build a store, and the store works the same way buying a house does. You buy a plot of land, you talk to, or you can buy a store somebody else has already built. You talk to a carpenter, design a blueprint, have the carpenter build your store. All right. So when they build that store, let's say you build a 3-room store, right? You've got your main lobby where you've got the primary display items. You've got a second room where other items, and then a third room where a storage room. Maybe you've got other items that you want to sell, but you don't want to carry them on you, right? You want to keep them in the storage room. You can store them in the storage room and then limit access to everybody something sells on a shelf and you got a blank spot on your shelf, you can interact with that spot on the shelf as the store owner and autofill it with an item from the back. And that'll kind of keep flow going, so you don't have to worry too much about whether or not you've got enough stock, right? When it comes to having a physical location to sell stuff, the key is to have enough inventory to maintain, right? Otherwise, you might as well go to use the auction house. All right, so you've got all your stuff set up, and you're the player, you're the merchant, and somebody comes into your shop because they saw you posting all these signs and whatnot. The way it works is the player. That's a great question, Steele. I don't see why not. I don't think initially we're gonna build that, but yeah, I could see bigger stores, places that have specialty areas. Like imagine a mall type setting or a guild that purchases an entire plot of land, and you've got blacksmith stores over here, you've got general goods stores over here, and you've got alchemy over there, and combat items over here, and I mean you're talking about all kinds of different places that players could set up as a mall type scenario with what we've got right now, and then if we add in the giant department stores, maybe they put it underneath the roof. So I mean, I think right now we've got the functionality that people are going to be able to pull that off anyways. But yeah, we'll talk about much bigger buildings that you can build later on. The first step is to get the basic ones to work. Like a 3-room store is probably going to be the base for now. Get that to work without any question and build on that. So that's a good question though. Watch Walmart try to come in and set up a bunch of stores in game. Nope. Banned. Denied. All right. So you build a store. You've got your room set. Somebody comes in, they want to buy an item. Very simple. They interact with the item and decide whether or not they want to purchase it for the price listed. Maybe another store has a better price and they want to haggle you on it, right? And they can open that dialogue with you and have a conversation with you. Harassment shit will get people kicked out of fucking stores in a damn heartbeat, all right? We do plan on giving players the functionality that absolutely kick somebody out of a store and not allow them to come back. I don't really give a fuck. The harassment bullshit needs to stop in games. Just because you don't agree with a price doesn't make you God. If you don't like the price, find somewhere else to buy it. It's that simple. Or figure out how to make it and sell it your damn self. That's what the fuck we're doing. Welcome to capitalism. But let's say a player wants to buy the item. They like the price. They want to buy the item. So they interact with the item. They make the purchase. At that point, you own the land, okay? You own the store. When it comes to the taxes and fees, those things don't exist, all right? And this is going to push people to player merchants quite a bit. I'm aware of this because the auction houses will have. They're a little more convenient than a player merchant, but a player merchant might have things that an auction house just doesn't have. So, no. Right now, there will be no PvP elements in these stores, all right? That includes no robbing them, no killing players, none of that shit right now. We do have plans to, or we are talking about what it would take to put those kind of things in, but those would be major update elements, so it would make the suit Nazi look tame. Yeah, maybe. We'll get to that in a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a couple years. So they purchase your good, the money's yours. All right, it's really that simple. There are scenarios where that changes a little bit. Let's say me and you are friends, right? You own the store, me and you are friends. I fucking hate selling shit in games. It's not that I don't like the money, and it's not like I don't get enough quality items to sell. I just hate trying to figure out what the best prices are and what the going rate on the market is and when you're supposed to sell it and how much you're actually supposed to sell it for. And then undercutters. Fucking undercutters drive me insane. Why don't you all list it at the same fucking price, man? You're killing your fucking market. Sorry. Okay, yeah, so. Oh, Jesus. So let's say I want to sell boots of run fastiness. And Steel Deal owns a shop. I say, Steel, me and you are buds. You sell these boots for me, dude. You got a market, or you got a shop. I don't feel like checking out the auction house and trying to figure any of this shit out. But Steel's a fucking whiz at this shit, right? It's not really. But let's pretend like Steel's a whiz at this shit, okay? So Steel says, yeah, no, I know the going rate for those shoes, man. I'll sell them some bitches real fast. What's my cut? Well, now we're talking consignment, right? All right, so you can take 10% of whatever you sell it for, dude. Whatever you sell it for, you get 10%. Now I got a fee associated with it, right? But I also don't have to fucking deal with shit. I ain't got to talk to no fucking NPCs and set prices in an auction house window, which, not that that's difficult, because it's pretty fucking easy. It's just that I don't want to fucking do it. Lane does not like that shit, like at all, okay? But Steel loves that shit. Steel knows the market, understands how the fucking market works, what all the best rates are, when they change, how they change, why they change, all this shit, right? Steel's fucking got this shit figured out. This is what Steel does in this fucking game is he's a damn shop owner. So I give him my shit. 10% is not that much. Peace of mind. I know I'm going to make some money off it because Steel's going to take care of me, make sure it's at a good price. I come back in a couple days. Steel's got my money for me. Everything's good. Steel made a couple bucks. I did all the hard work, got the item, and we got an exchange going on. So it's a simple setup, simple process. We are going to allow players to set up open consignments. Okay, it's something that exists in the real world here, and it actually works pretty well. Open consignments where players who do want to sell items, but they don't want to. God damn it. Adora, I was getting good questions, man. Now I'm just going to get trolled. Son of a bitch. Kempo's not here, is he? If Kempo was here, there'd have been like 3 dicks in the fucking chat. All right, what was I saying? So, you got a random player, right? Doesn't have any friends who own a shop, doesn't want to own a shop, but loves doing consignment. Goes around doing consignment all the time. Finds profitable shop owners, and if they have open consignment, goes into the shop, does a consignment. The way that would work is they can either talk to you about it up front, or you can you can have your set consignment, or they can click on a shelf and they can say, all right, sell this item for whatever price you find valuable, or this minimum price, and you get 10% of whatever you sell it for. And then the shop owner can choose whether or not they want to sell the item. It's really that simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be this overly complex system, right? It's that fucking simple. So you can hire other players to work with you, okay? And we'll probably incorporate an easy system where you set up players who work in your shop, so they've got access to certain things, only specific access to certain things. Like they can post items on shelves, they can approve consignments as long as it hits the minimum standards that you've got or something like that. And they get paid at X rate per, X real life hours or something like that. So they can generate a little money and whatnot. We are talking about, again, one of our team members brought up the question, when I'm offline or when I'm playing my main and I've got 4 other alts, can those alts walk around my house and shit? The question was posed, can they work in the shop? It's a question that we need to answer. Because we don't want it to conflict too much with players being able to work for shop owners, right? Shop owners being able to pay players to, I'm offline these hours. I only play so many amount of hours a day, and I'm missing an entire audience. So if I keep my shop open, which requires somebody to be in it, then I can get access to more people. Okay, so let's say you're West Coast and you've got an Oceanic buddy to manage that time zone. You got an Asian buddy who lives in Asia to manage that time zone. And then you got you got people all around the world, right? So you hitting all the major time zones, and you got the schedule set up where everybody, say you got 6 people that come in, and you got a couple cross shifts, and they come in and they work X days for X hours. It gets a little tedious, right, for shop owners to set up all these schedules, but you're talking about an in-game market, and if you really want to be a player merchant, there's certain elements that you could absolutely enjoy. Now, you don't have to partake in those things. You don't have to have anything to do with that shit. It's just added elements that make it a little better. So, marketing. Shop owners and hired players can advertise for their shops in all global channels once per hour. Prevent spam. Only mention the name of the shop, type of goods sold, and the location of the shop. Spamming can get you in trouble because it's fucking annoying and it makes people turn off those fucking chats. So, fuck you if you're trying to spam. Next to the auction houses will be a market board along with a crafting board. And it'll display active local shops, business hours, stuff like that. So, and then consignment. All right. So if you got any questions, let me know. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing overly complex. Player merchants is just a system that's gonna allow players to do something else other than just fucking PvE or PvP, right? That's the trick to managing a player's time in an MMO space, is to give them enough things that they don't care that they're grinding. Life is a grind, man. You wake up and do the same fucking shit every fucking day. Usually it's boring though, because it's shit you have to do, not shit you want to do. So if we provide enough things that players want to do, the grind is irrelevant. We make this big stink about how grindy a game is, and what we actually mean is the grind's not fucking enjoyable. Like, I can absolutely see the grind for everything that it is. I know every second of the grind that I'm grinding, and it's just dulling me to a fucking blunt point. And it's about taking that space of time and giving players something to fucking do, man. So this is another element where players can do many different things. And we hope this brings many players to the game. I mean, there are going to be players that maybe they don't like the PvE because they're not skilled enough to raid, and they want to raid, but they can't. So they're pissed off about that. But they do enjoy the PvP. They do enjoy the role playing because maybe the community is really good. They like the crafting, but they really love player merchant. So they stick around and play the game. They do the player merchant thing. I mean, whatever keeps them around. As long as they're entertained, I'm happy. Really am. We're not going to crash our entire game for that. But will there be any major NPC shops, or is the high-end items sold primary player merchants? Miss, we got to work on your typing, man. You literally sound like your third person. Mist is not from a different country, all right? This motherfucker speaks English. Damn it, Miss. High-end items will never, ever be fucking sold by NPCs. Does that answer your question? That shit'll never fucking happen. You know what? Few reasons why it'll never happen. One, what the fuck is the point of going out and doing all that badass shit if I can turn around and buy the same shit from a fucking NPC? Two, have you heard of being able to buy gold from gold sellers? Yeah? Becomes a fucking cash market real quick. Might as well just put it in a fucking cash shop. Seriously, might as well just put it in the cash shop. Two, we're not putting that shit in the cash shop. So I say two, I meant three. Yeah. Man, it's been a long couple weeks, y'all. You don't even know. Fuck, it's been a long couple months. Oh. All right, so I'll answer any of the questions you guys get pop up. Missed. You are literally typing in our damn videos, man. I need you to work on that shit, bro. Take a fucking English class and master that shit, you son of a bitch. So I've got nothing to rant about tonight, okay? I chose not to. And we're not talking about motherfucking politics. Learn to count. I can't, man. I can't. So instead, we'll just give a quick shout out to the gaming community. Not just the gamers, but the part of the community that comes together to build some of these games. We've had a huge amount of people coming into the project recently, volunteering for the project, and we absolutely appreciate all of you. Every single, whether you've got what it takes to build an MMO or not, I don't really care. You showed interest, you reached out, you gave a fuck. That's important, all right? If we're going to maintain any type of control in this market, Players have to be involved. The community just has to be involved in every way possible. So we're absolutely encouraged for what's coming and what you guys are throwing back at us, and we absolutely love you guys. So yeah, I think that's it. Got a meeting at 8:30, so I got to get ready for that. But yeah, I don't see anything else. All right. So, see, why does it? But if I don't even know. Miss, just remember, I'm gonna send you stuff on Monday. But when I go from live podcast to live website, my chat clears. But when I go from live website to live podcast, the chat remains. I don't know what the hell that's about. All right. So, anybody out there listening who is a fucking software programmer, you can always use more, okay? Always use more. I'm never going to turn you down. We're going to have to start building teams soon here. I think we're picking up our 8th programmer. I don't know. I got to learn to count. 2D creature modelers. Big shit. All right, we got a lot of creatures coming in. We need a little bit more, just a little bit more concept art love, specifically in the vein of creature models. So if you got any talent with that, or if you can do people, facial, anything like that, we do have artists that can do creatures. So really, any kind of concept artist. If you're a concept artist, you want to get involved on something, we offer term sheets that give promise for pay when we get to the point of funding, and the point of funding is defined. And if you're on board before that point of funding hits, you're getting a portion of the outline profits. So there's profit share. Server admin. Man, we need server admins bad. Yo, motherfuckers. Server admins, man. And then if anybody's got any friends who are great with programming, don't want to build an MMO, want to build a card game, let them know that's profit share too. That is separate from Sacrament, so it's a separate profit share outline, but it is profit share as well. So CRT ain't quest writers. No. Still trying to overreach with CRT, ain't he? That motherfucker thinks CRT is magic. All right. So, let's run through the gauntlet real quick, okay? Everything I'm about to say is down below. We got our Patreon down below. If you like what you're seeing, probably going to wait for the basic combat build. That's what I would suggest. That's what I would do if I was a motherfucking gamer. You can check out our Patreon, donate, show some love, whatever the fuck you want to do. Facebook and Twitter pages. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Sacrament Reddit page is also there. Oh, we do have a few community managers and a social media expert. So we are going to start getting everything rolling again. We need to pull in a few more social media guys, but we are in a better place than we were 2 months ago as far as social media goes. So, which is massive for us. We've got the potential to reach out to 300,000 people right this second. So fucking awesome. I'm loving it. It's a huge thing that any companies struggle with immensely, and it's something that we wanted to tackle as soon as possible. And we finally got that settled right as we're about to start launching our basic combat build. So much excitement. Website and forum links are down there as well. The website will change, but the location will not. The forum links, note that the forums are locked down. We do still have a ton of fucking botters who are coming in. We are working on, I'm talking to a security guy about helping us increase our security to prevent botting. I'd love to maybe open up the forums a little bit more, provide some general chit-chat locations for everybody to talk in. But the botters were getting insanely out of hand. And the more people look at our website, the more the botters want to attack it. And we've got, like 400,000 views on our website. So it's enough for the botters to give a shit, okay? Volunteer form. Yeah, if you've got any talents, accounting, fucking video work, if you can dance on a motherfucking street corner, if you're going to any cons and you want to help us build a motherfucking presence, any damn talent at all, head on over to the volunteer forum and hit that son of a bitch. Dora and I try to check it often. Keep in mind, if you are the type of person that is expecting an immediate response and will be upset if we don't respond within a month, don't bother using the volunteer forum because we don't really give a fuck. Honestly, I don't have patience for kids, man. I just don't give a shit. Also, don't lie. If you're not fucking over the age of 18, don't lie. You can't get in trouble for that shit. All right? You're not released from all fucking legal obligations just because you're under the age of 18. Motherfucker knows exactly what I'm talking about. I already yelled at his ass for it. And then remember, every other Friday that is not this Friday is the Sacrament Roundup. The shit's not juicy yet, but it will be juicy very soon. So be sure to check them out on YouTube. Our YouTube link is below as well. I was about to say, maybe it isn't, but I remember checking on that last time. So it's fucking there. And we'll get more art up on here. I know it's been the same exact fucking drawings, even though we got new fucking artwork all over the place. So yeah, we'll get new artwork going. So we're kicking ass, taking names. Basic combat build is fucking coming. All right. I'm in absolute contact with my fucking CTO. So there are no communication issues there. All right. Hell, he's yelling at me every day to get him new shit anyway. So we're doing that. All right. Oh yeah. If you're not going to take the time to answer the questions on the volunteer form, don't bother filling it out. We will just ignore it. It populates into a spreadsheet we check anyways. You're not doing anything to us. You just literally wasted time out of your life. It doesn't matter. All right. Yeah. Is the volunteer form not... The volunteer form's listed below. Is that what you linked here, Adora? Can I link? I can't click on that. Yeah. Why you link that? You know it's down below, right? This fucking goob. All right. Well, if you got any questions, we got forums. So hit us up, or wait for this to jump up on the Facebook page or YouTube page and hit it there. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to remember anything else, but I don't remember anything else. No, you fuck off. All right.